Okay, I'm recording on both ends here. And
You
once
don't
you
need
start,
to record video because it'll be in the stream.
okay, so don't
Uh,
record any video whatsoever.
yeah, just do audio.
All right, brother.
Okay, it's looking like the stream is on.
All right, let
Uh,
me find the stream, and then once I've got the stream up, then maybe we start officially. Does that sound all right?
all right, I'll do that. Just one sec. I'm gonna put monetization on for you, Troy.
Oh, good on you. There's nothing I see just yet,
Okay.
but maybe that'll just take a minute to show up. I'm on the Leon Toddabits.
All right. Well, let's do this. Here we go. Now we're gonna go. Now you should hopefully see something.
Let's refresh. Nothing in me wedge. Hang on, let me just go over to the homepage because it probably will pop up. Here we go. Gear Podcast Live. Fucking. Oh, I can hear myself.
There you
I
go,
better-
mate.
G'day, mate. All right. So I can see. I've got it up here.
You can probably see the YouTube studio in the background for part of it.
Yep, correct. And obviously we're on a delay here. Just say blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah, Troy.
Checking the delay. Oh, there we are. There I am.
I am going to check the stream on my phone. So it's
G'day, William De Silva.
William De Silva in the house.
How you going, mate? One of these.
We're gonna get some people in, and then we'll do a live theme song by Troy, and then we'll officially start. So
we're
this
technically not we're not live.
Well, this is pre-show. We're live, but you know, it's like
Yep. You can call me Gene Simmons, mate.
Brian Taylor is not in the rooms yet.
Roaming LT.
Right. Imagine going to Nam and just behaving like BT.
Oh man.
Reinhold, is it? Yeah, g'day, mate. Oh, gee, that's a funny looking hat, isn't it? Now, oh, your amps are sounding pretty good, mate.
G'day, everyone joining the stream. This is my first live stream, mate. This is pretty cool.
There you
Oh,
go.
did we do one when we tracked some guitars and stuff years ago or not?
I think maybe, yeah. All right. It sounds good. That's the most important thing. I have had some issues with OBS in the past. Just
Loud and clear.
Whoa, that was a loud noise. How's everybody doing today? And are you ready for a live theme song in about 2 minutes?
I'm ready.
William De Silva is next door in Springfield, Oregon. That's kind of cool.
Not Springfield, the other Springfield where the Simpsons come from. Damn it!
Well, there's a lot of Springfields, isn't there? There's Springfield, Ohio, and Missouri. I've been to Springfield, Missouri, plenty of times. Illinois, yeah, that's the one that I'm thinking of. All right, what is better in a small room? I feel like this is a question that's about to be launched upon us. Look, when this stream hits 20 people, Troy, if it hits 20 people, I think we should officially start. So
Yeah, how do you see
everybody out
numbers?
there-
I only see the chat over here.
I've got it in my, I've got it
Oh,
open
okay.
on my phone, so I can see that.
Oh, maybe I'll do that. Oh, and I've got you on the other monitor. I'll leave it there.
We've got a little pre-show question, Troy. What sounds better in a small room, a 2x12? Sorry, two 1x12s or one 2x12?
I think the way I would answer that question is if you have two 1x12s, you can set them a bit further apart if you're going to run stereo, which would be kind of cool. If you've got a 2x12, I mean, they'll theoretically push a bit more air. The size of the cabinet will be different, therefore you'll get a slightly different sound, which, yeah. I've just had to hide the video because it's really distracting knowing it's on such a delay. So I think maybe I'll be able to think clearly now. Yeah, I think like the tone of an open back, like 2x12 or a closed back 2x12, just it has a different character to 1x12. So it's really what you prefer, not like what's better. But it's that if you want to run a stereo, like big wide stereo, you can like put your cabs a little bit further to the side. That might be of benefit to you.
It's kind of like monitors, right? You know,
Yeah.
if you've got a small room with studio monitors, you know, how close they are to the wall is going to be a big factor, but also what you do to the room is going to be a big factor as well. So Excellent question, Terry. Thank you for that, mate. And
18 watching. Cool. I've got it open on the thingy now, so I think that's. Oh my gosh.
yeah, this is I must admit, Troy, I've been inspired by Jason Tong's live streams.
Well, they are pretty good.
Seen
I
him
try and
hanging out
show
with.
up as often as possible because it means I don't do work. I just wait for him and Dave Friedman to talk about Mesa Boogie Stilettos.
That was awesome. Like, so just things we like, 800s and Soldanos. It's like, yeah, it's that, bro.
Yep. I used that amp yesterday. Oh, yesterday, 2 days ago for a session. It was good. Maybe we could talk
Fantastic.
about that on the app.
Yeah, yeah. Well, should we do it, Troy? Should you just kickstart us? Is everybody ready for a live gear
Are
podcast?
you ready? We got 18. 18's pretty good.
Yeah, mate. Close enough.
Okay, Uncle Leon. Where's my coffee? Which one is it? Hang on. I'll do it live. I found it. You ready, Uncle Leon?
I'm ready, Troy.
Theme song for the Gear Podcast. Uncle Leon, how you going, buddy?
Pretty awesome, man. We're live and ready to rock. So if you've got questions or topics you want to talk about and you're in the chat, then this one will be going out to everybody's ear holes. And if you're not listening live, hopefully it's still kind of coherent and enjoyable. And a big shout out to everybody who has been supporting the Gear Podcast recently. I had a few messages from people after the last episode because we were talking about some stuff with new products, and that one was pretty well received, which is always a bonus. So before we do, how you been, Troy? You been busy, mate?
Yeah, busy. Couple of days recording, some late nights, some bunch of gigs, did some fair bit of driving over the weekend. I tell you what, mate. Let me tell you something. Well, let me tell you two things. Firstly, should we play a little game of Find the Coffee?
I think we should play a little game of Find the Coffee. How many cups do you have there? Less than a dozen?
Well, let's see. So I've found it already. So this is the last time I cleaned up was probably about a week ago. So let's just see this. So this one, empty. That's one. Two, that's empty. Three, empty. Is that stack on the screen? It is.
Look at this, mate.
Four, empty. Five, empty. Six, empty. And I'll just quickly go over here. So we've got number 7, and this one's number 8, and I think that's all I can see at the time for the time being. So that's that's
animal.
quite a few. And then we've got number 9, which is this one's fresh and ready to go. It's still lukewarm. Actually, it's not quite lukewarm yet. So I gotta have a few more sips. So cheers, everybody.
Where do you get your coffee from, Troy?
Well, I have quite a few places here in Perth, Western Australia, that I like my coffee. That coffee came from Green Street because it's about a 5-minute walk. Had a really nice chicken and pesto roll just before we started. And Sugar and Nice in Inglewood, I go there quite a lot. I go to Little Nolla Cafe near my house in Nollamara. And those are probably the big 3. Boss Man in Inglewood, Mount Lawley sometimes as well, if I'm out that way.
Boss Man goes pretty hard, hey. And for anybody not participating in the live stream, I just want to give a big shout out to my buddy Gurtej Singh in the chat. You may know him as GT. Bit of a ledge. Recently became an Australian citizen. Congrats, man. I'm so happy for you. Also became a citizen of the PRS club recently as well, which is way more important.
Just to quickly check the comments here. Sad Wings, can we stream at a less ungodly time? No.
Yeah, we work around Troy's very, very hectic live schedule here, so... Mate, you can't come up with that many coffee cups and stream at a godly hour, so we got to keep it ungodly.
And Leon did say about what is the time now? It's 12:47 p.m. here in Western Australia currently, right now, as I said that. It could change to 12:48 at any time, but I think at about 12:30 he said, "Hey, let's just do this live," which this is what we're doing. So. Yeah, it was unplanned, so maybe we'll schedule it next time. We'll do it for 6 o'clock in the morning, and that might make it easier for some people.
Exactly.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe,
hey,
maybe not.
Leon, Uncle Leon, let me just say. So you asked how I've been. I got a little thing, a bit worried about it. My left ear over here, I've had a bit of a low hum the last maybe 24 to 48 hours, and I looked it up. And usually, you know me, I don't go to the doctors.
And it means you're dying, right?
Oh yeah, because if I go to the doctors, then they'll tell me that I'm dying, and I don't want to find that out. I just want to be surprised. So I don't really I don't go to the doctors, and when I have a health problem, I bury my head in the sand because that also makes me feel better. And I just don't do Doctor Google, because when I read Doctor Google, then I start getting all sorts of crazy ideas. So I made the mistake of, oh, this thing in my ear, what could that be? And I thought, man, is this like tinnitus? And it could be tinnitus, and it could be a thing that I just have to now live with for the rest of my life. It just came on like in the last couple of days. It's really annoying. And then now that I acknowledged it, that firstly that I hear something, secondly it could be permanent. When I went to bed last night, I just laid there like, man, this sucks. Like had a minor like little panic attack there. You know what I mean?
It's like when you get a
But
toothache. You don't think about them when they work. As soon as there's
yep,
the tiniest hint, you're like, oh, this is it. My life's over.
yep.
Oh. And hey,
So
we have Art Vanderlei, importer exporter, in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. So he
I'd
said
love to be your
he
latex
really
salesman.
enjoyed the Australian story with Ben and Chris from Silverchair. Troy, I haven't seen
Yeah.
that yet, but what do you reckon the odds of a Silverchair reunion pretty soon would be?
Oh, are they broken up? I just
Well,
thought they stopped touring.
yeah, I thought they just on one of those very, very long hiatuses or hiati.
Hiatus?
Is that how you
Hiatus,
say
yeah.
it? But yeah, man, talk about like proper. Did you? I talk about it a lot because it's a really interesting interview. But Daniel Johns on Enough Rope with Andrew Denton.
No, I didn't watch that one. I watched him on Rove in like
Rove.
2001 or something, which was maybe 2002 when after Diorama came out.
Yep.
And it was all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, Daniel Johns is like pretty messed up. Hey,
Yeah, it's almost like being 14 and being thrust into the limelight is maybe not great for your mental health or something like that. So,
yep. Amy went
yeah,
to his house.
yeah, I feel like you've mentioned this story, mate. Share it. This is a rock royalty story here.
Not really my story to tell, and I don't think it's much of a story. But my partner used to tour with Empire of the Sun as a dancer, one of the backing dancers, and yeah, like just went to a party at Daniel John's house whenever they were up. Is it in Newcastle?
I feel like that. Yeah, they're a newie band.
Yeah, I don't really understand the geography of New South Wales, nor do I care to learn.
To
But
me, New South Wales is if Geraldton was like a big industrial hub.
right,
If
because I
Gero had
mean,
coal.
where we are here, Leon, as you know, it's basically Perth, and then you drive for what, like 24 hours, and you might hit Adelaide. That's it.
Yeah, and
I mean,
then
you hit Kalgoorlie, and that's cool, and Geraldton and stuff. But
and you
you're
don't
talking like,
stop in Adelaide. Why would
no,
you want to do that? We've got the
exactly.
aerodynamic one in the chat. Hey, John. Uh, I watched a video before we did
On
this.
ground in the house.
Speaking of people who do some pretty intensive, thorough things, I saw Jim Lill put up a video about microphones.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw that he did that, and that looks very, very cool.
I mean, he's making soda can or beer can microphones, so there's some. But yeah,
Is he?
I mean, there's some interesting stuff, man. He goes to like Ocean Way Studios and tests a bunch of mics and measures them, and it's very very from the John Brown handbook of diving in there.
All right, can I tell you another one from the John Brown handbook really quick?
Yes,
So, do you follow Eric Valentine on YouTube and whatnot?
I do. I haven't watched any of his stuff recently though.
Uh, well, he took a massive hiatus, but he put a video up which I haven't watched yet, and it's I think comparing Fairchild 670s, because you know Unfairchild, the one that he makes, and
Yes.
there's a bunch of others. So there's a video that I saw today, and it was like you know, me and the guy from Heritage Audio discussion about the Fairchild. I'm like, oh, okay. Don't really care that much about this video, but it just happened to play after some football trade talk video that I was watching.
And knowing Eric Valentine was at 6.5 hours.
It was only an hour.
Okay.
And I was actually, we'll talk about it because I finally wired my pedal board this morning, like made some cables and stuff. Anyway, it was a real like fuck you video to this Heritage Audio guy. It was like a messy video of, you know, you said this about my unit, but I said this about your unit, and like you're right about this and you're wrong about this, and da da da. It was really funny. Like,
That's why. Just,
um,
you know,
I,
recording
yeah,
music is maybe a bit too boring sometimes, so you got to like juke it out.
I guess so. I mean, it sounds like I didn't watch the original video, so maybe it was slightly more justified, but I think the Heritage guy, it sounds like he made some rather, maybe not spicy comments, but certainly was the instigator of the negativity. And Eric Valentine just finished it. But it kind of boiled down to like, you're an electrical engineer, I'm a recording engineer, so you know, suck it, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. I make things with sound.
I'm telling you this because I use the unit, not just because I designed it. It's fine. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
pretty funny.
That's
Hey,
pretty interesting.
I'm gonna use some magic. I'm gonna turn the lamp off in the back corner. You ready? And boom, boom,
Oh, mate. You're looking
everything's
good.
changing.
Terry reckons hydrogen peroxide in your ear for 10 minutes. He's a surfer, so
Oh,
you might have something in your ear, mate.
maybe. Well, that's the stuff that bleaches your hair, right?
Why why go to the doctor when you can do a live stream?
That's right. How's your ears at the moment, mate? How's the wax?
Ah, it's at a historic low, so it's going pretty
Oh,
well. For anyone
good on that.
unaware, I have very, very waxy ears and really, really narrow ear canals, so get blockages fairly about every 9 to 12 months. So, yeah, those couple of days when it finally just seals over the eardrum is it's just like walking around in your own head, which you know I don't want to spend too much time in there. It's weird. It smells funny. So getting them cleared out is always a joy. And then I find there's like a massive overcorrection with my ears where like stuff gets like everything sounds too bright for about a day and then it kind of settles back down.
Yep. Yeah. I've well, this ear, I think it might be partially blocked, as like pressure's sort of blocked. So I've had it today. There's been maybe once or twice, or in the last 24 hours, where it's like I've yawned, and all of a sudden it's been like boom. All of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sudden
yeah.
it comes back. But then I was like, okay, how is that related to the hum? And the hum is still there, but maybe it's just, I don't know. Hopefully it's just an ear infection or something like that. I don't know.
Mate, as
From
every
rock
sound
that way.
engineer has ever said when they mess something up, oh, it's probably a grounding problem.
Man, I'm having some freaking annoying grounding problems in this studio at the moment with the guitar rig.
Oh,
And I
really?
know, yeah, I noticed another one the other day, or yeah, 2 days ago doing a session, just because the way I, all right, well, here you go, everybody. Like, this is just stream of consciousness, nerdy bullshit, but here we go. The Little Labs Ready thing that I have here, which is my DI that goes to Pro Tools. So whenever I track, well, I've said this before, but whenever I track guitars, I plug into this DI and that goes into Pro Tools clean, and then it links through into the guitar rig
Yep.
through a pedal board and whatnot. So that's fine and dandy, no problem. Um, but yeah, for some reason, just um, the radio frequency pickup was really bad the last couple of days, only with this pedal board, of which I said I just wired it, but partly the reason I'd taken so long is I got one of those True Tones CS12 power supplies, mounted it under the board, and it's the kind of the first time I'd used it. Um, yeah, the board is otherwise just sort of sat there with a few random like wall wart power supplies hanging out for various pedals. But yeah, it just kind of hummed and buzzed, and it was pretty bloody annoying, mate. I didn't notice it when all the pedals were in the rack in the back there with the fuel tank power supply.
Ah,
So
interesting.
I don't know if it's a power supply. I don't know if it's just general issues. I don't know if it's a different cable, but I've got a bit of investigation to do.
I had some
Uh,
issues with, I was demoing something yesterday and like channel one of this thing was fine and channel two had this weird like just bop 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 kind of thing and
right.
it ended up being the power supply. I think it was just like
Okay.
the power supply was rated at the same value that the unit draws, but I suspect maybe it just wasn't pushing enough power to it. It was like
Yeah.
I
Right.
just gave it a bit more juice and it was happy days. So
This
yeah,
is power supply that you provided, or that the piece of gear provided.
this was I just picked up some random power supply, so it was my fault, which happens quite a lot when you just like yeah, just plug it in. Can you see that next to the vinyl record, Troy? Do you recognize the vague shape of what
I'm
it is?
like, I've stopped showing the video. Hang on, let me have a quick bloody look here, mate.
See,
No,
mate.
not Top Chat. Here we go. Vinyl record. So say again. What? Huh?
So you got your vinyl, you got your
Yep.
other stuff. There, it's a big pedal and it's got wooden sides.
Oh, is that a Mooga thingy?
Yeah, it's the ring modulator though, so I'm borrowing one
Oh,
at the
right.
moment. So that should be pretty fun. It sounds pretty wild because it's got the standard ring mod stuff, but built-in LFOs, and then you can use other audio as the carrier waveforms in there, and
Oh,
expression
okay.
pedal, and do some pretty wild stuff. So yeah, that's what's going on there. What else has come through? Seeing as we're talking about gear, have you had any cool gear revelations in the last week?
Let me think. And I want to get to, but maybe a new piece of gear that came out like a couple of days ago, mate. We should talk about that in a second. But um, let me think. Gear wise, not so much. I put a cream back in that 2x12, and that was pretty
Oh yeah,
cool.
okay. I think you mentioned you
But
want to do that.
yeah, but I've just been working, so when I actually get paid to do a job, I can't really just faff around with gear and watch Uncle Leon on YouTube, which is maybe what I'd be doing at this time, or a John Brown, or a Michael Nielsen, or etc. video. But
Playing with
yeah,
the
I've
boys.
been too busy recording. So, but the tracks were cool. Um, really got to blast the pink recto in the back there on this song, and that sounded really good.
What
And
cab?
everything went through my V30 cab,
Nice.
my 2004 John, my 2004 straight 4x12 with the
Marshall.
V30s in it.
Yeah.
I think it's dated to 2004. Those speakers, or maybe it's 2003. I worked it out a couple of years ago and forgot. Tried greenbacks on it with a few different other amps and stuff, but that just won. And I used a lot of matchless. A lot of the Cherrytone matchless clone that I have, the DC30 clone. That was really good too. Use that with the Anarchy Audio Workhorse, so like a clone sort of
Ah,
thing.
sick.
That was sort of like I had Recto one side and then the matchless the other side, and that worked great. And then we did a lot of other stuff with one of the guitar players has a really cool Strat that we ran through, maybe the Stiletto. I think it was the Stiletto actually.
Gotta get the stiletto going.
And I mean, it's kind of bad timing, Leon, because I would love to have used my Marshall, but unfortunately, I just don't have it available at the moment.
What have you done with it, Troy?
Yeah, I don't know who could possibly have it, but anyway, the
Thanks to the magic of television, we now know that
well,
it's here. And
because of
Jason's
the
put
delay, I can't see when it's actually going to
right,
appear in
but
screen, now
Jason's
it's
put
not.
up part one of this on YouTube. I think part two should be coming soon. So I'm
Yep.
waiting to release. I've actually got two videos with it. One with just the amp, and one trying to match it with the axe.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I think I got pretty close to one setting, obviously. Man, just stock. It is sick. Like, I got to crank it through a cab
Yep.
because Speth is away.
Mhm.
So, went old school Leon Todd and put the cab in the other room and went ballistic with it. And
Nice.
yeah, it's very good. And just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you just put like a 57 on it
Mhm.
and it's hell good.
Yep. Which cab did you run?
Just the one with greenbacks. It's
Yep.
like just sounds
With
like
the vintage greenback or a newer one?
the newer one.
Right.
The vintage one I got
Yeah.
to sort out. It's sort of like I don't know how good a job I did wiring it in, and it's yeah. I need to tidy that up. Shout out to Des as well, friend of the channel Ben Wilson. So there's a
Cool.
like Ben. I remember Ben years and years ago telling me about Des and stumbling across his channel and being like, "Oi Ben, is this your mate?" And it was one of those kind of moments. So hope you're well, Des. It's nice to see you in here, mate. Gary Davlin in the chat as well. People can feel free to fire away with questions as well because we're just doing a bit of a
Bit of a
gear hang. But
having a jam sesh.
having a
over
jam
here.
sesh, exactly. But yeah, man, that Marshall is great. I can't wait to put the video out with it. It was just like, just has the thing. The
Yeah.
J.K. Lee mod on it is really, really cool. But I kind of agree with you where it's like the core sound of the amp is just so good. And then the other things are nice options to have. I kind of
The
find
like
myself just going back.
the boring stuff that he did to it. Like, okay, what I mean by that is it's exciting to have like the diode clipping on there. That's really
Yeah.
awesome, and it's exciting to have the Jakey Lee extra gain on there as well. But the fact that it's just not as noisy is
Yeah.
like it's really silly to be like excited about that. But yeah, it's like not fucking humming and buzzing all over the place. You can actually use it, and the fact that it has dedicated impedance outputs
Yeah.
for 16 ohms, really useful. So, and just the amp, it does feel a bit different. It feels like it's just a little clearer or something. So in the stock setting,
It's
so
just
I really
dialed
like it,
in,
man.
man. Like it's, well, it's had maintenance and TLC on it. I messaged Jason and said, like, man, this thing, like, you did such a good job with this. And he was just like, yeah, it was pretty good when it came here. It's just a good sounding example. So,
I mean, remember like when we spoke to him months ago, I asked him like what defines a good Marshall? Or I mean, you could probably extend that to a good any amp, but you get that thing of like, oh, line up 10 Marshalls and like one will be the standout.
yeah.
And there has to be something. I don't know if it's okay. Sorry, I'll start again. Maybe it is just a sum of its parts and it's the right concoction of like drift in values on certain
Yeah, yeah.
capacitors or the transformer is something. I don't know. Maybe that's all it is. But it's just it's strange. Like I wonder if there is like one element of the circuit that like makes it better or makes it worse, or when you sort that one thing out, it kind of gets you in the right direction. I don't know. It's weird, man. Those old Marshalls.
I liked
I
I forget if it was his live stream or a video I was watching where he kind of talked about like the core like topology between a plexi and a 2203,
Mhm.
how it's sort of like pot, like where the gain pot is, if it's like
Oh yeah,
gain stage pot gain stage or gain stage pot or pot gain stage. I forget how it is, but like a 2203 was gain stage pot gain stage, and he was like, yeah, that's kind of you know his preferred topology, and that is a one reason why they do sound a bit different. One of the many
right.
reasons they sound a bit different. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting as a core aspect of it, where it's not just the plexi circuit with a master volume. Although
Mhm.
I think really, really early master volume Marshalls would have just been that, and then you got the cascaded gain stage thing, and it's pretty interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I've learned a lot from watching his videos and his live streams and stuff. The live streams are really awesome, just to be able to fire off questions to get like immediate feedback and discussion. Same as like the tone talks and stuff,
Yep.
which I don't watch that many of those because they're quite long and they're always, just the wrong time for me to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interested in something like that. But it's just it's so wild. Or the Freyet ones too, like the little nugget of information that you learn. Um, just offhand comments that people make sometimes. That's what I love about all this sort of stuff, the podcasts or whatnot. So
The nuggets of
yeah,
gold. Someone messaged me and they were like during the week, and they were like, "Hey, who's Angus and what's this like high cut thing you guys were talking about?" So
listen to the pod.
yeah, listen to the pod. I just directed them to the pod. Actually, we did a show Saturday night
Mhm.
at Badlands,
Yep.
which is a really good sounding venue.
Mm.
Sound guy has done sound for us a few times. He's a younger guy. I forget his name, but he was good, and like it sounded really good on stage. And I used the FM3. I think I
Mhm.
had the high cut about 6.5K. I got on
Mhm.
stage, played a few things. I was like, that's okay. Took it to 5.1. Boom. It was just like, it just sounded fat. It was
Yep.
really, really nice. And yeah, actually
Yeah.
played pretty well for a change, which is nice. That's me I'm
It,
talking about. Yeah, it was a good vibe.
um, yeah. You watched the grand final, hey?
Oh, did I watch the grand final, mate?
Right. I just ask you.
Set my guitars up while I was watching it. It was
Oh,
um, it was one for the ages.
yeah. I mean, obviously, when they say that, hang on, I had a joke, but fuck Collingwood basically was the sentiment of it.
Yeah. Well,
Evil triumphed, but that's okay.
my
It was
dad,
still a really good game.
bit of joy in my dad's life. So
Oh, finally.
he couldn't watch the end. He was just like outside, and yeah, it was. I was like, mate, that advantage play.
Hmm.
I was like, no, they've just ruined it because it was a very, very good game,
Yeah.
and a few
I
contentious
missed.
calls at the end.
Yeah, I missed the end of it. I got back from my gig at like midday, maybe 12:15, and the game started at 12:30. So I had enough time to like sit on the couch, sort of like half pay attention to the children, and then yeah, I watched up until maybe halfway through the last quarter and had to get in the car and listen to the rest of it on the way. And then I turned it off right as the siren went because I didn't want to hear all these Collingwood fans cheering and carrying on.
Yeah, exactly. Just all right. Enjoy the off season, and hopefully it's at least another 13 years.
Oh, we can only hope.
We can
No,
only
it was
hope.
a good game though. But yeah, the what was I going to say about the grand final? Oh yeah, that because you sort of basically played like an after party thing for that, right? Or it wasn't an after party, but
That's
it
how
was
they
on
were
the
trying to
grand final.
sell it. Yeah, it was. You know, there was a. I don't think anyone who came to the show cared that much about footy, but caught up with a few people. Some of the bands were really, really good.
Cool.
Jacob
Cool.
Jacob Kenny's band,
Mhm.
Legacy Alive. They were fun. He was playing the what's he got? The Soldano Hot Rod 30, SLO
Oh,
30.
okay.
Yeah,
Right. That's
that.
cool.
And when they were packing up, I was like, you got the FM3 for effects and the air step, so you've
Oh,
got
right
the
on.
you got all
That's
the
cool.
approved gear right there. So yeah, they were good. And he was playing in the opening band, who were a Story of the Year tribute band,
Oh, okay.
which is a pretty niche thing to do a tribute to here, but they were pretty good. Who else did I see? We feel like I bumped into quite a few people I haven't seen for a while at gigs, so that was kind of nice. The other John Brown said the Fryatt Malcontents show is dope. Stephen Fryatt's slight curmudgeoniness makes it really great. Yeah, he's like it's like hanging out with your uncle.
Uncle Steve.
Yeah, just Uncle Steve, drinking a few cocktails, talking about amps.
Well, when I was talking about the little nuggets that you learn, there was a story he told about, um, why Zach Wilde uses EVs, and
Oh
he
yeah,
goes, he got the gig from Jakey Lee, and apparently when Jakey Lee was recording, I guess it was Bark at the Moon or one of those albums, they just did a big shootout and picked the speakers he liked the most, and it was the EVs. But then when he left, all those cabs were there, and Jake was like, "Okay, I'll just play these," and then here we are, like 30 something years later, and Jake is Mr. EV, so and has signature model EV speakers and all that sort of stuff.
Jake or
So
Zach?
sorry, Zach.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, Zach has got the signature EVs and stuff. So yeah, it's but I like those little anecdotes. They're just they're fun little
It's
stories. It
funny. I
makes you feel
think
funny.
who's doing the Deep Purple gig now? Simon McBride. So I saw his rig run down, and it's like he's playing Steve Morse's cabs.
Hmm.
It's like they're just the cabs that Deep Purple own and tour with, which makes a lot of sense. It's like,
Yeah.
this is just the thing you have. They would have, and have a, they'd have their gear in storage in Europe and duplicates in storage in America, and
Yep.
higher
Does it
backline
have
when you come to Australia.
does it have Deep Purple on the grill or anything like that, or a
Uh,
logo?
I feel like on the sides or something like that. So that's
I
kind
remember
of
seeing
cool.
uh Def Leppard about. I was with Speth, like, because she got tickets and we went, and
Oh, live and Def
yeah, it was
Leppard,
like
the unholy
Baby
union.
Animals and then live, and then it was Deep Purple. But I remember I had a little chuckle, but like Vivian Campbell, I guess, plays Engels, and so he
Yes.
had all these like Engel cabs, but they were projected on the screen, so it was just like a wall of like 4 or 6 or something like Engel stacks. Um, yeah, it was. I don't know. I was just kind of lame. I was just like, oh man, just don't do it.
Hey, Troy, guess who's just joined the chat?
I saw Michael Torrin, the man, the myth.
MT. What do they call it? What's a martial arts master? Is that a sensei?
Uh, Sensei sounds good.
Or the rack sensei, Michael Torin? Or he's
Rack
got the
Caddy.
ultimate Mojo Dojo Casa House?
Um, I feel like Michael. I think you messaged me yesterday, and I forgot to reply. So that was very rude of me.
Everyone send
Look,
Michael
everyone in
Torin
the
some
chat now.
love.
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to your preamp Super League, Mike. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's that's going to be a video. We talked about that, didn't we, Michael? You are going to shoot that, put it up for everybody to watch.
Everybody to enjoy immensely.
Leon, we need to do a paramp shootout as well. Like we spoke
Yes.
about it the other week, but you know what I really, if
Did you
anyone
watch
has
Michael
tried
Nielsen's
this,
one?
say again.
Did you watch Michael Nielsen's one recently?
I did. What I would like to hear though, this is just a random one, is I really want to try an Orange Pedal Baby and hear what that sounds
Right.
like.
Yeah, yeah.
And I so much so that I almost bought one this week. I almost bought one of two because they came up sort of like cheapish,
Right.
like maybe $300 or something. But they're really light and they're like 100 watts or something like that. But they kind of, they sound from clips. They sound a little better than the Seymour Duncan things and like the Matrix and all that sort of
Right,
stuff.
right.
I think
Interesting.
they're a bit more ampy sounding than just like pure clean. So I'm kind of keen to try them out. Yeah, I'd like to chuck that on the list. No one's like, you know me, Synergy. I want to know what it sounds like with Synergy.
Yep.
Like that would be
Well,
such a great little rig. Have your Syn One, have your orange pedal baby, or even for me, man. You know, like I take my HX Stomp to gigs. I could just take the pedal baby and a 2x12 or 1x12 and do a
yep.
gig like that. Like that'd be cool. So
Exactly.
yeah.
What was I gonna? The Synergy. Who's using? Maybe Michael can let us know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure like who's using it. I think Dean DeLeo. He's a guitar player in STP. He was using the Fryette Deliverance module
Mm-hmm.
into a VHT power amp. Like that's his kind of dirty sound. And I
Right.
can't remember if he's still using AC30s or if he's using like the AC20 module in the Synergy.
Oh yeah.
Like just for that sound. So, and a shout out to a friend of the channel and long-standing supporter Lyric Bread in the comments. You guys can all fire away questions about gear and things like that, and we'll weigh in with our uninformed opinions.
Hey, speaking of uninformed opinions, mate, should we talk a little bit about that Fender thing?
Yeah, man, Fender went full Acoustasonic with the marketing, didn't they? It's like you'd feel a little bit left out if you didn't get one in advance. Although I got mine on Monday.
I checked, man, because it was funny. I saw your video came out and like Riffs, Beards, and Gear and all those ones came out, and I just looked at the view count and yours like smashed.
Oh man, mental! Like that's what's it at the moment. Like I'll check, but yeah, you know, it's launch videos like that always do pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this one in particular was getting close to like 50K in, you know, a day or something like that. So much to the fact that the video that I put out yesterday, which got like the normal number of views, I think the analytics thing on it was like, oh, this is not a good performing video. It's like, but it's just normal. Yeah, getting real close to 50. So that's cool. And I did the premiere thing, and a bunch of people hung out in the live chat. So that was pretty fun.
No, it's sounding cool. Just quickly, because I've got the chat here. Should we just maybe answer a couple little questions? Firstly, what do we think about locking tuners? Can they be used instead of a locking nut with a Floyd? I love locking tuners. I've got them on a bunch of guitars.
The best.
I actually need the ones I don't like, which I can show you.
Show us what you don't like, Troy.
This here Les Paul.
With the big nodules
I
on
took
it.
them off. I think what ones are they? They Grover? I don't know, but I put these locking. Excuse me. I put these locking tuners on this guitar, but they're ones that they have like a little cap thing that you pop on there and then twist it up so to lock the strings down. Which, when it's as I've taken it off, but it makes the tuners like stick out about that much on the top, and they look kind of weird, and they didn't really hold tune that well. So those ones I didn't like.
What you want, mate, are the Godot SD90s. They're the best vintage looking. I have them on the McCarty and my Les Paul, and they just don't look like locking tuners, which is awesome. The backs are still normal.
Yeah, I really want to get a set of those because I'm back in love with that Les Paul. I may as well do some more shit to it and change more stuff. But I like those. Sorry, I don't like those ones, but in general, I like the locking tuners. Someone might be able to answer this question a bit better than me. I had on my Warmouth Strat that I built like years ago, locking tuners and a Graphtec nut. Not with a Floyd, but just with a normal tremolo. I think the Wilkinson one.
Trem, yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty good. I mean, it's what makes it go out of tune to my knowledge is like anything in between the length of the string. So when you're locking it at the nut, then you only have between the bridge and the nut for that to be like, you know, meaningful vibrations on the string that's going to affect the pitch. If you have locking tuner with the nut in the way where it doesn't lock, there's still like possibility for slippage and stuff. So I guess like, you know, it might be okay, but it might also cause you some issues depending on your guitar. I know with mine, I had some string trees that otherwise like the guitar stayed in tune pretty well, but the string trees, because they put like another point on this like tension on the string, it meant that the tuning wasn't quite as stable. So I took those off, but then I won't go get the guitar because it's in the other room, but it's like a reverse headstock I wanted it to look like Ingve-ish slash Paul Gilbert-ish. Oh, and Nuno-ish. I think his is
Yeah.
reverse headstock too. But it's like a normal Fender neck. The low string was basically flat. Oh, I don't know how to say it. Like from the bridge to like the tuner, it was like very much a straight line. So there wasn't really any pressure keeping the string pressed down to the
Yes,
nut.
yes, yes.
So if I played in drop D or I hit a chord too loud, the string would just pop out of the nut. It happened a lot. I just got used to like popping the string back in and hoping it would be in tune, and it most of the time was.
And Troy, did that
Um,
happen a lot because you're a top rooter? Shout out to shout out to JNC, John Nathan Cordy in the comments. Yeah, you're a
top
madman,
rooter.
John. How's the Tone Master treating you, mate? Because so get this, isn't this maybe a standard we should all kind of aim for? The Tone Master stuff kind of entered the public consciousness. It was leaked,
Mhm.
and John did a video about it. And lots of like the first I heard about it was his video. I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And basically, it was sort of like I saw a bunch of people like, "Oh, well, they're definitely not going to send him one. It's a shame," and it is because if I there's like a handful of people I'll watch a product review of, and when you watch a lot of someone, you sort of like, okay, cool, that sounds like them, or that sounds like them slightly better or slightly worse. So he just went out and bought one. So that's
Oh,
commitment to the craft, ladies and gentlemen, and that's yeah, there's it's simultaneously madness and awesome at the same time. So everybody go and if you're not already subscribed to John's channel, go and do it. And also, it is not Jonathan, it's John Nathan. So maybe what's the deal with there? Maybe he can let us know.
um,
Anyway, I cut you off talking about string length being a top rooter.
no, I think that's probably all that needed to be said. Feel like I had something to contribute, but I just can't think of what it was.
I had the reverse issue on a Les Paul for a while where the saddle at the bridge wasn't cut deep enough, and
All
sometimes you
right.
palm mute and it would like slip out, and
Ugh.
it wouldn't go far enough where you're like, ah, something's wrong with the guitar, but then you'd look and be like, oh, I was done like half a gig, you know, 32 cents out of tune.
We've done that,
Yeah,
haven't we?
right.
Oh, not 32 cents, but that it's really funny that it's happened like recently, when we did that hen gig where yeah, if I haven't said this before, but it's really funny. It's happened to me with both the HX Stomp and the Line 6 M9. But when you turn the tuner on, you have the option to change the frequency like to what you're tuning to.
Yes.
So obviously 440 is what we all should be tuning to because it makes the most sense. But if you are, if you need to tune other way, you can like, do that. But I've turned the tuner on and then kicked the knob that's changed the tuning by accident and not realized it. So I've done it like it's not the first time it happened, but it happened recently with us like a year ago. But yeah, turn the tuner on and I've just looked over at Leon like, man, what are you doing? Like, you're not like, can you tune your guitar? We're a dickhead over here. Really screwed the pooch. So anyway, just a couple of other questions looking back through this chat, mate, and then we'll a couple of them, then we can talk about the Tone Master again. Deliverance is a sick module, absolutely. Probably my favorite one. I'm a bit like hit and miss with the Ecstasy module. Sometimes I love it. I think it depends on the power amp. I like it a lot more through the Fry
Yeah.
power amp. I like it less through the Sin head, the Sin 30 head. I've noticed. The Sin 30 head, I like the Deliverance a lot, but maybe that's probably just a taste thing. And Nuno's tone, Uncle Liam. Do you want to quickly talk about that before we go to the Tone Master?
Oh yeah, Nuno's tone. So who was talking about this?
That was
I thought it was awesome. Like it was just loud. Maybe that
we're
was
talking
it.
about at the gig, right?
This is at the gig, yeah. I thought he was great. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up in the chat right here. So what am I? Leon, can we talk about Nuno's tone? From GT. I mean, if we're talking about like Pornography 3 sides, that's the MP1. Really, that era of like Nuno's tone, Skid Row, it's really Michael Wagner's tone, right? Like Nuno's playing awesome. But that was a Michael Wagner production.
Yes, I mean it's kind of weird. Funnily enough, the track I did the other day, the guitarist wanted to use "Rest in Peace," the lead sound in that as a reference, of which the tone we got was significantly different to that. But that's a story from the time. I feel like Nuno is one of those guys that like, well, it's probably just like a lot of those players, like album to album, they just sound like themselves no
Yeah,
matter what they're
yeah.
playing through. So like the Michael Wagner thing, what he did with that ADA is that there's a particular preset that he used, and I don't remember which one it is, but excuse me. There's one of the factory presets that he always used, and he used it through like a, I think it
Macintosh
was
Power
always
Amp.
the Macintosh Power Amp, and mic'd it with. I feel like the mics may have changed depending on the
But
project. I
then
think
there
there was
was
one.
like lots of post processing as well. Hey.
Yeah, but effectively that was the core tone for, like you say, Skid Row, um, Nuno. I'm not sure if, oh well, the Vito Bratta and stuff. I think that would have been like pre ADA, I think, but someone can correct me. But like those big albums that he did, it was all that same sort of sound. But like none of those players like sound like each other necessarily. They all still sound like themselves as they play. So it's kind of it's still a fairly transparent thing, I think,
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
that he worked, where it's there isn't like this to me, I don't go like, oh, that's a Michael Wagner guitar sound like immediately. I just go like, oh, there's Nuno just doing his thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like the personality in his playing is way more important than the kind of tone aspect of it.
I think the personality is really all Nuno's thing is like, yeah, there's like I like his guitar sound a lot, but I just don't really ever hear the gear in it. It's
Yeah,
just
it's kind of
you just hear his
like
fingers and his
think
ideas.
of another big guitar personality in Zach Wild, and if you listen to
Yep.
No Rest for the Wicked, you know that Michael Nielsen has a great video about this. Zach Wild, the shaved ears. It's sort of like you can really hear the difference in his rig when he's using that Lee Jackson preamp and the sort of rack
Right.
rig, and then when he's playing the JCM 800, it's like half the songs have this like real chainsaw thing about them, and half of them have that kind of raw. And then you listen to No More Tears, and it's like how good's the symphonic preset on the SPX 90 guys for making guitars sound big? You know, it's like
Yep.
it's still him playing, but it's like very, very different. Like if you listen to No More Tears and you listen to say like Miracle Man, you can hear the difference in the tone a lot. It's sort of like different enough where you're like, cool, that's Zach Wild through a different rig. Whereas I feel like that extreme stuff was like similar enough where it's like, oh, cool, now Nuno's doing this, or he's into this, or he's slightly more into Hendrix.
I off the top of my head, I don't remember what he used for three sides. Do you remember?
I do
I don't
not. I feel like if anyone knows, it's probably Michael Torin though. So,
because like I think it's documented that like the Waiting for the Punchline album, which is like such an underrated album. Like I actually listen to that more than any other Extreme album personally. That's like an old Vibrolux, like a 63 Vibrolux or
really,
something. Yeah, just really loud. According to Nuno. So I mean, I don't know how true that is or not, but yeah, it's just like that cranked up, very, very different sort of style. So it's cool.
I'm just trying the
And
Andy James BC Rich. I'm having a look at it now. Let's have a look. So I think he was a Kiesel artist before. It's a look. Andy's a great player. This thing is the definition of like everything I don't like about modern guitars. It's
the
a
Signature 7
it's
Evertune.
it's a green burst,
Oh,
and the
okay, that's not the
headstock
thing I
is
listened
just Garrett. Like it just looks very unbalanced aesthetically.
to.
I know
Oh,
it's kind of like, bro. Oh, hang on,
Leon,
hang on. They have a matte black version. The matte black version looks good.
I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. I can just see a white one and a black one.
Yeah, sorry, it must have just defaulted. The white and black look pretty good. I retract my previous statement, but the
Oh, I see the green thing. Yeah.
yeah, the kind of like pine lime burst. I'm just not into. I'm just not into things that look like icy poles
Yeah.
on guitars. Yeah, okay, cool. The standard colors look sick. The headstock is a little like too big for the body, in my opinion. But
Can we talk? Can I just ask you a question, Uncle Leon?
yeah, man.
I hope this is like. If we don't want to talk about it, that's cool. Um, the Flying V that I have on my wall at the moment.
Oh, the Dean, yeah,
Yeah.
crusty old Dean.
I was telling someone 2 days ago about why I happen to have that guitar here, which is a very cool guitar, but it's your guitar. What was the context of that guitar and the story surrounding it? Is that something you could? Is it,
Context, I think it was the Play Authentic fiasco.
yeah.
So, you know, there was that great video that nearly called him Mark Zuckerberg.
Agnesi?
Mark Agnesi, yeah. It was sort of like he got the gig, and they released a very like off-color kind of video where it was like, "We're Gibson, stomp, stomp, stomp. We're coming for you guys who copy." I think it was meant to come across as like, "Hey, you know how there's lots of factories in the so-called Chibson thing where it's like
Yeah.
Chinese made, cheap, but it looks like a Black Les Paul custom or something." I think it was meant to be like, we're going to crack down on this kind of stuff, but it would just kind of came across as like, so we've done nothing with our legacy designs for 50 years, and now we're just going to like lawyer up. And
Yeah.
the video was really poorly received, and I did, I guess, what you would call a reaction video to it, and I was like, I just said that it's like, this is poor form. Like, you guys sound like you want to like punish guitar players for their preference in instruments. And I think then they filed a lawsuit against Dean or something, and then didn't like Dean sue someone else later on? It was like, it's just all a big,
Yeah, I think some because like remember everyone left Dean like not long after that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, Dave Mustaine and stuff.
Anyway, they sent me a guitar, which is cool. They were just like, hey, we really like the video. Do you want to demo and review one of the guitars? And they sent me that Flying V, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, man, I've played it a bit, not for a little while because it's on the wall. It's on the wall of guitars, of which I just kind of look at as art rather than playable instruments. But it sounds good. I
Yeah.
think it's got like a Duncan JB or something in it.
No, it's a custom 5 in the bridge, which is
Custom
actually
5, right.
like, it's just, and a 59 in the neck. So it's sort of like I feel like the pickups really kind of make it. I had it set up, and I should probably come and grab it at some point and make some noise with it.
Anytime, mate. But no, it's a cool guitar. I like it.
But yeah, anyway, I'm sure Mark was very embarrassed by that, but
Well, the story that I told was basically the same thing, but I just boiled it down to like, oh yeah, this guitar here, it's not mine. It's just yeah, Leon did a video with it. It was like this whole "fuck you Gibson" video, and then Dean sent him a guitar.
yeah,
That's the abridged version that I tell when that comes up.
and it was funny because there was a comment in Mark's video where he was like, yeah, and I know there's people playing our guitars. It was like, what are you on, bro? Like, I know if you're using our guitar in a movie or a video and you're just putting tape over the headstock, that's still like a breach of something. So I put tape on the headstock of my Les Paul, and I still get comments from older videos like, why have you taped over the headstock on that Epiphone, bro? It's like, yeah, it's an in-joke. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also kind of feel like as well, with the era that we live in, where it's just like mass outrage. It's like, I actually kind of like the Gibson TV stuff they've been doing, and Mark deserves to not have to live that down for the rest of his life, because I've been watching a lot of those, and I'm like, yeah, this is what you're good at. Like, you're just a dude hanging out, doing this, but you're doing it with Slash instead. So it's considerably more watchable. So
I don't know about that.
yeah, as Art Vanderlei, importer exporter, says, marketing based on negativity is never a good ploy. Marketing 101. So I still feel like you get some stuff now where it's like, man, like marketing on the internet has been around for so long now. How do Globocorp still get it wrong sometimes?
Yeah. I'm just trying to check this chat. It's been popping off, man. I've sort of haven't really been keeping abreast of it.
Here we go. Why does a Korean-made Jackson guitar cost $3,500 in Australia? What's that, about $2,000 at the moment?
Is that what it costs?
The dollar's not good, but
Yeah. I mean, it's like I didn't know that's what it cost. The what was the video? It might have been a Jason one who was talking about the cost of Marshalls here being like significantly cheaper than, like, say, in America.
yeah, that's a thing.
Like,
There
because
was-
like proximity wise to Asia, where a lot of it's built, like they just get shipped straight here, so you can actually get stuff way cheaper.
Let's
So I'm
take a look.
surprised that's not the case with the guitars, but yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know those guitars specifically, but
I mean,
is
point
that
of
all-
manufacture point of manufacture is like, maybe this is a very simplified view of economic history, but, post World War II, well, what happened in World War II? Everything except the United States had mass carnage take place throughout it. So like Europe's industrial centers were wrecked. A lot of East Asia was just absolutely torn through by the Japanese, even though, they were creating the East Asia co-prosperity sphere. So, and I guess you also didn't have a lot of industrialization in those areas. So, post World War II, when all these things that are deified as the classic guitars was kind of a golden age in American manufacturing, because through the 30s and 40s, they basically were just like, we can make stuff and we have resources, let's get it on. So you have this like gigantic, unprecedented level of like manufacturing and industrialization. So that's why you, as a side effect of that, you get Fender and Gibson and all these kind of things. And then probably by the late 60s, you've got manufacturing in like Japan, for one, because, they're now aligned, they're part of the Western economic system. So you can do cheap manufacturing there. And then, it's probably like a generational thing, right? You have like a generation of people do that. They work in the factories. It's kind of like economic bootstrapping. Like then their kids probably don't want to work in factories. They probably want to go to better schools and, become professionals. And so the manufacturing gets outsourced from there. So it's sort of like, a lot, anyone my dad's age will still like kind of like, a Japanese made guitar can't be as good as an American one, which for us, we're just like, it's not the case. And then I know growing up, it was kind of like stuff made in Korea probably didn't have the best reputation. Like the Japanese stuff was considered. And now you've got that trickle down effect of and like if you look at the biggest economies in Southeast Asia, like, right, and East Asia as well, like Japan, Korea, and the sort of emerging economies like Indonesia and the Philippines and stuff like that, you're getting a lot more manufacturing there because the labor's cheaper. It's like, the number one thing in all this kind of stuff that you can make cheaper is the labor. So probably why a Korean-made guitar costs that much, because, the labor's probably become a lot more expensive. Whether the quality is good or not, I don't think is too tied to that. But, Korea is like a super expensive place to live, and I imagine wages have been going up and things like that. So, and also the Aussie dollar's not as good, so something that's benchmarked against an American price.
I haven't seen what it is at the moment.
Yeah.
It's probably very bad and will make me very, very sad.
Yeah, exactly. So, do I plan on doing more Tone Master Pro content? Yes, definitely, because I didn't get a chance to. I think, I did like a 45-minute video and I didn't even look at the editor and IR loading and stuff like that. So I will do that, and I'll also make some presets for it. There are a few things, like in the Mark Series amp, you can actually page across and it's got all the switches. So I kind of demoed it quickly and I was like, it sounds like the fat switch is on, which it is by default, but you can go through. So there's some kind of deeper stuff in there you can get into, and there's a few things in there that I'm kind of like wrapping my head around because they don't work the way the Line 6 and Fractal stuff does. And I don't know if that's because that's just how it is or if it's a bug. So I'm just going to like write up a gigantic list of any weird things that I find and just, send it to the rep that I deal with here. And if they feel like passing it on, they can pass it on. So, and hopefully that will make life better for everybody. Because
make a big YouTube video, a big fuck you video.
Yeah, just
you don't even know what's up.
Yeah, exactly. You done gone bad. Where are we at? Any chance Ragdoll's come to the Gold Coast anytime soon? Not that I'm aware, but we've actually never played on the coast. We've never done a non-private show in Queensland. We've done quite a few like corporate and private shows there. So yeah, where do people play on the Gold Coast? Let me know. So how good are the Harley Benton guitars, Troy? Have you played my Headless?
I think I played it at a gig. I think that's all. It was cool.
Yeah. That's for the money, man. Far out.
The word unremarkable comes to mind, which I say that as a compliment. It's just, sometimes like a cheaper brand, you go, ugh.
Yeah.
It's a bit off-putting, but that was just like, it was a guitar.
If you can be unremarkable at that price point. I quite like the frets and the I've done quite a few gigs with it now.
Mhm.
Harley Benton comes down to which factory it was made. Yeah, okay, so I imagine they're probably sourcing it from a bunch of other places. Some of the Indonesian stuff, like I'm pretty sure some of the, is it Cortec, who
No idea.
I think they make the PRS SE stuff now. I think
Okay.
they're an Indonesian factory, and probably I think some of the
Oh yeah.
solar guitars as well, Indonesia as well. So there you go, mate. You're you're taking over the guitar market
Mate, finally. I watched I feel like PRS did a video of that Indo factory
for
like
the
a year or so
Grissom,
ago. For the what, sorry?
for the DGT SE.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yep.
So I don't know, man, like you can make a guitar anywhere. It's not a I think location really doesn't matter, does it? I mean, like it's just if you've got the tools, like tick, if you have the like actual materials that are good. So to, I don't know if this is actually an accurate thing to say or not, but it's like a like $6,000 PRS versus like an SE made in Indonesia. Like they're obviously great at what the people crafting those guitars in America, but as long as the wood is like close enough to being good, it's still a usable instrument. I don't know what the big
I think with
whoop is.
automation, that's kind of what fundamentally changed it, and also like the knowledge base. So if it's
Mm.
the early '60s, and why is my camera going out of focus? If it's like the early '60s and you've been building arch tops for 30 years in the Gibson factory, and suddenly you're carving the top on Les Pauls,
Yep.
that's a skill that probably not a lot of people have.
Hmm.
Or you've been building guitar necks and carving them. Not a lot of people would have that particular skill, but it's all CNC now.
Yeah.
So what can change? The inputs can change. The I guess the attention to detail in the factories can probably change, and the tolerances, and
Which
the core
well, that's
design.
fairly high. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't think the margin for error is as great as it used to be. Like it was different. The Korean, Chinese guitars from like let's say 1992 to like 2007. Like there was some interesting instruments made in that time, and that's I know I can think about that because I played them. Like friends of mine had their first guitar that they
Yep.
picked up from cash converters or whatever. It's just like not great, but man, it's different. It's like they probably weren't using the CNC machines the same way as they are now, so therefore just chuck in the machine and spit out a guitar, and then everybody's happy. Right?
Yeah, and again, it's not like accumulated. I will send you that list as well, Cordy, and I look and do with it what you will. Um, yeah, there's also that like accumulated. Like, I've been listening to a lot of. There's a really good podcast called the China History Podcast by this American guy, Laszlo Montgomery, and I just love the way he starts
That's
episodes.
no Panaflex.
Yeah. But Cam's mate Andy, who is known since he was 3, like came out to the gig on Saturday, and he lives in Hong Kong. And I was like, oh man, I've been listening to this great podcast. He was like, is it the China History Podcast with Laszlo Montgomery? I was like, yes. And like it's as you can imagine about Chinese history, but there's also a lot of like stuff about economics and industrialization and things like that. And it's like that kind of like knowledge base is it takes a while to develop. Like once you've had multiple factories and generations of people coming through, then yeah, that counts for something. And like you've got that in most of these places that are pumping out guitars now.
Yep.
And also, guitars are such a small part of this big picture of stuff that gets made. Think about the fit and finish you get on an iPhone, right? Like whether you love Apple or you don't like them, you unbox a new iPhone, right? And it is an impressive, refined piece of hardware. Like, and it's mostly made in China, right?
Yep. Well,
So
yeah, I guess so.
so there'd be a generation of people like, oh, it's not American made, it must be a piece of crap. But it's like, bro, there's billions of these things out there, and they mostly work most of the time.
Just to look at a couple of questions.
Yeah. CNCs don't know what country they're in. Exactly.
Yeah, guitar got stolen. That sucks.
Oh yeah,
Good
not
luck.
good.
Yeah. Something cheaper to noodle with for now. Yeah, there's just so many options around. That's a huge well. Good luck. Just go to any guitar shop. I'm sure you'll find
Yeah,
unfortunately lots that you'll like.
or trawl around the second-hand listings.
Yeah.
There's
I just go for
always deals
guitars that
coming up.
look cool. I don't give a shit about anything else. Like if they're like shiny or pointy or something, I'll just take
What
those.
is the most different guitar that you guys have
Yeah,
played?
that's a cool question. I was trying to think of an answer to that. Do you know the first one that came up is Leon?
Someone
When
asked
you and
about
I,
this in the comments earlier, so this will be one of my answers.
hang on, I'm sure. I can't.
You
Wait,
can't
it's
see it
the way
yet.
up to where,
But
yeah.
yes, this is. Someone did ask earlier, is that the Lassie? It went back to Rubato for a few upgrades and improvements, and I'm going to do a video about it. But I actually did half of a ragdoll show with it just to see how it was on Saturday, and it was really, really fun. It's kind of like, it's so light that it feels like you're just playing frets attached to nothing. That's the best way I can describe
All
it.
right, that's cool.
And they got the lumen layer markers as well, which
Yep.
is very handy because there's nothing inlaid on here. So, yeah,
Right.
this is definitely one of the more different things, and because it's almost a two-dimensional object, it's so thin, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, the like this is so loud as well. Like I was, we rehearsed at Cam's before the show, and I like pulled it out and I was playing, and he was like, "Why is that guitar so loud? Like, what are you doing?" It's like it just is, bro. So that would be one. People would know that there's that double neck that my dad made hanging out back there, the replica. That's kind of different.
For me, the first one that came to mind, weirdly enough, was the Gibson robot guitars from the mid 2010s.
Yeah, were we in America the year they
Yeah,
came out?
We're in Dallas, the
That's
Dallas
right.
Guitar Center, I think it was. They felt bizarre, like
I
considering what
remember
they
you tried
look
to
like.
just pop it into drop D, like just
Yeah,
muscle memory. This is what I do when I play guitar, and it was like,
yeah,
no.
it didn't work. But then it's just like the width of the neck felt so weird. It's really maybe it was just that day and I wasn't thinking about it too much. But I fucking hated that guitar, man. Like I couldn't play it.
Yeah,
Um,
that was strange. That whoever the rep was really really nice. Like he was. I
It was
remember him
cool.
being
Your
a
free
cool guy.
T-shirt. I
Get
still
some
have
free
that
t-shirts.
T-shirt. It's in the other room. But no, in terms of other weird guitars, I mean, I think most of the guitars I own are pretty normal, I suppose.
I'm a big normcore sort of supporter. You know.
Yeah, because we're not Leon and I aren't particularly big multi-scale type of cats. I've got a multi-scale, I've got a Dingwall bass, which is really cool,
Yeah, that
and I like
seems
it for that.
sick.
But I'm not really that interested in other styles of like multi-scales or fan frets and stuff. And then yeah, like double necks and stuff are cool.
I've got a cigar box guitar kicking around here, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
cool.
different. I used to teach mandolin on it
All right.
because I just probably ruined some kid's impression of man. Like, yeah, no uke. That's right. I had a uke student for a year at the college, and yeah, I just used that, and it was totally fine. So, yeah,
The youth bases are cool.
yeah, I agree as well. There's a few other. So that's from Kale. Shout out to Kale. From Teriyaki, why does Fender and others keep making necks with the nut at 1.68 instead of 1.65? Why does Fender never use rosewood except in way overpriced guitars? Probably because it's just, you know, the scale they're operating on, you know, the margins they'd be dealing with as well. I just like, man, I was explaining this to someone, one of my students today, right? He was like, I think I want to get a Strat. What should I do? And I was like, well, go and play like 20 of them because they're all different. Like, and the comparison I made was like Les Pauls, you got the thin neck and the fat neck, and then basically you have customs and you have everything else. And the customs, you know, because they got the back binding and it digs into your ribs even more. And you
Yep.
either like a fat neck or a thin neck. That's basically what it's like to play a Les Paul. You know, different pickups and good ones and bad ones, but
Do
they're,
not like customs, but go on.
they're
Sorry.
the main, they're the four quadrants you can consider, right? With Strats, it's like, man, 600 different neck profiles and radii, and 1969 July was different to 1969 August, and you know the 70s ones, and it's funny for something that is just a bunch of things stacked together that you get so much. There've been so many desirable combinations in there, so yeah, it's I can understand that frustration in there, but I guess if you want those other things and you've got the money, go and buy a Sir or an Anderson or some kind of equivalent thing in there. It's funny though because Fender own Charvel and Jackson as well. It's like the Jackson, like the SoCals and the Pro Mods, like they have some pretty wicked specs.
Yeah, I mean, like I love my Charvel. Like that's my main guitar as a HSS with a fixed bridge, and just yeah, like that is a super Strat in the sense of like it's not a pointy guitar. It's a
Yeah,
Strat, but it has all
it's
the
a
modern appointments that make it comfortable for me to
it's a
play.
proper
Like,
hot rod
yeah,
style early 80s super Strat. I agree. This one is from JWB Guitars. What modeler would you recommend? It's Fractal for tones. Dan Huff, Landau Lukather, Fractal, man. Like, you need good pitch detune to do those tones. That's the only one that does it. Quad Cortex doesn't have dual pitch detune. The Tone Master doesn't have pitch detune. Um,
does the Fractal do a bass octave thing now or not?
it's got an octave divider in there, yeah.
So I mean, like you know what I mean. To just do like an octave pedal sort of thing. Is it like okay now? Because it was pretty dog shit in the AX8. No offense.
They changed the pitch tracking quite a lot
Right.
for this generation. So I still think there's just something in the Helix Octava that's just the sickest. Like
That's my and as of
the
the
way you use it anyway is like I
yeah.
haven't really been able to get that kind of sound out of it. But like, yeah, you've got it dialed in. It's pretty awesome.
But you know what really was disappointing was the OC5. I think I've said that a few times,
Yeah.
but man, that thing just did not work for me. OC2 is cool, but man, the OC5 was such a
You
disappointment.
know what I use for a really convincing octave effect, actually, Troy, is the ring modulator set up with the pitch tracking on. It's got a
All
bit of
right.
that like OC2 kind of like crap tracking about it.
Yep.
But I really like that. I've got that in a few of my patches, and it's just a good weird one. So yeah, I would say probably for the 80s sounds, Fractal if you can get it, or maybe the Helix. I feel like the Helix has a decent pitch detune. It's like the Line 6 effects selection is just, it's like complete, and the same with like the Fractal thing is like, if there's stuff they're missing, it's something hand built. Like, it'll be like, oh, they don't have a Pete Cornish spec Ram's Head muff or something. It's like, yeah, but there's 7 other fuzzes.
The sorry to also answer that question. If it doesn't need to be a physical modeler and you're happy with software, then just get the Overloud THU and get all Michael Nielsen's patches because he does the Dan Huff like
Yeah.
Landau. Like he's got an entire pack or 2 or 3 packs of them. So that's probably as big a tick and
Yeah.
easiest possible way to get those sounds,
I
and
saw
probably the cheapest as well. So
if
the THU is such an underrated guitar plugin, in my opinion. I use it all the time. For like not just for demos and stuff. If I can't be bothered turning on the rig for whatever reason, or I want to put something down quickly, I just use that and it sounds awesome.
That's cool.
So,
Lyric Bread mentioned Fender stopped using rosewood in the made in Mexico due to the CITES thing. So, and Pal Ferro is often known as Mexican rosewood. So I imagine if they're building guitars in Mexico and they're sourcing the timber locally, that's a big thing.
do you remember? Sorry, go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah. And shout out to Judge Shred, who is watching from Chicago and would love to see us over there. And he subscribed to John Nathan Cordy. Good man. This is what we like to see, spreading the love around. What was that? The
Oh, 2
Landau
things.
Luck thing?
Firstly, remember the Red Beach Voyager, Ibanez Voyager guitars?
Yep.
Which was my first introduction to Koa because it was a Koa body, and I'm pretty sure Pal Ferro fretboard as well, which felt super exotic because every other guitar that I'd ever seen was rosewood or maple or ebony, and I was like, what is Pal Ferro? That must be really expensive.
Yeah.
So I still have a bit of that in my brain that it's this very exotic wood, but I don't really think it is. His signature Sir might have Pal Ferro on it as well.
Yeah,
still,
interesting.
But
I mean, you like what you like.
but our friend from Chicago, who was that? Judge Shred, mate.
Great name.
So you just reminded me. Have you had deep dish pizza before?
Yep. In Chicago.
It looks so good. It looks really bad for you, but I really want to try it.
It's
That's one thing I'm surprised hasn't made it over here. You can't just go get a deep dish pizza from somewhere.
You know how Americans call it pizza pie? Or they call it a pie? Deep dish pizza is a pie.
Yeah.
It's a thing, man. It's like the cheese around the side. there's a thing. It'll happen in the next 5 years in Perth where like, oh, have you been to that deep dish pizza place?
Yeah.
And you know, it'll be some guy who looks like an ex-footy player who'll be like, "Bro, I went to Chicago once and had it and was just like, you know, me mate's a real estate agent, so he gave me like 3 mil, and now Pav comes here every other week." I was going to say JWB guitars with the Dan Huff Lukather thing. If you're familiar with Christian Larson, he does like the best Huff
Oh,
clean tone thing. I saw he just bought an FM3, so that's pretty exciting. This one, sorry, I'm just going to crank through a bunch of these guys. Internal wiring for high and low pass filters in guitars. I don't have anything like that. Do you, Troy?
Think so, no. I'm a little I'm not good with guitar wiring. I did it a few weeks ago. I changed the pots in my Les Paul, which is why I like the guitar again. But yeah, I'm not, that's unfortunately not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's someone who was telling me they wired up their guitar. Oh, what was it? It was an interesting idea. They set it up so that you can change the like the resonant peak of the pickup kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Hang on, I know that.
I thought that was an interesting idea.
That might have been a YouTube video I watched recently.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, well, you know, if you want to avoid some icky frequencies going into amps, this is kind of maybe you're probably not using your tone control to start with, so do this instead.
Yeah. Anyway, firstly, haha, real pizza. Cool. It's good to know. No pineapple on pizza. Agree. Not a fan of that, but I don't like, you know.
You're not a no pineapple absolutist.
No, I don't put my life on the line for it.
You don't yuck other people's yum.
You like anchovies, hey Leon?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Although
is it Speth that doesn't like them? Speth doesn't like them.
yeah,
Hey,
not look. It's one of those. I think if she knows she's eating anchovies, she's not going to love it. But you know, if you integrate it into a meal, like you know, anchovies are. Say you make like just a tomato sauce for a pasta. Put a few anchovies in there. You're just like you're giving it a bit more umami. Bit more,
yeah, that's different though. But like Worcestershire sauce, that's got anchovies and
I
fucking
believe
all
so.
sorts of stuff.
Olives
But
and
yeah,
anchovies, yeah, man, that's a party.
you put anchovy on a pizza for me. Oh my god, it's just the best day of my life. I love them so much.
It's that contrast, like incredibly salty umami kind of thing in there. It's you know, in little bits. It's awesome. It's you want to know something psycho that
Always,
that I've been doing. So I love acidic foods, and I particularly like vinegar. Just always have. I'm pretty sure it's a genetic thing, because several members of my family have the same predisposition. But pickled onions, really easy to make at home. Make them all the time. Peanut butter sandwich, you put some pickled onions in it, and it's just better.
Okay, interesting.
Because you don't really taste the onion. You get like
just a bit of sourness in there.
Yeah, or it's like the acidity because peanut butter is quite fatty and oily. So you like offset that, and you get a bit more crunch as well. So
okay, I don't have peanut butter in the house because of like my son's allergies to peanuts, but which is a shame because I love peanut butter so much. Yeah, I made pickled onions last week for my tacos, like because we talked about it with the brisket.
Isn't it just great?
Oh, it's so easy. I've made it before, but it's just like man, chop, bang, bang, bang. I did get really sick the next day. Hopefully not related. Man, you know what I had last night?
I didn't get sick, and I ate about as much of that meat as you did. So
yeah, man, I had Zambreros last night for the first time in like 5 years.
Oh yeah,
harrowing food poisoning, and it was, I won't lie, a bit disappointing. And I feel like I could have gone another 5 years without having it and been just as happy.
Well, there you go. Now you know you can. Oh, hang on. Gary Davlin, I used to drink vinegar as a kid. Yes. So my mum used to make, you know, like a vinegar and oil and garlic salad dressing when we were kids. Oh, yeah. And I would eat my dinner and eat a bit of the salad, but I'd wait until everybody had eaten the rest of it and I would drink the dressing. It was just the best thing ever. And look, I did not turn out okay. So maybe the extra acidity was to blame. Do you not ask for anchovy consent? Most of the time I do.
I do. I mean, this is how I know Elspeth doesn't like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we've ordered pizzas together, and I'm like, oh, Speth, you don't like anchovies, do you? And then we just have an inferior meal. So
try a pinch of kimchi on the peanut butter sandwich. I imagine that would be.
I don't do kimchi.
Yeah, it's context for me. Like, you know what, Troy? I'll share
What
something with
now?
you. February this year, I went over to the guitar show. No, March this year, went over to the guitar show. We did some shows with the band around it in Melbourne, and I was kind of on this like, I just never had a mind blowing experience with Korean food, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, you know.
Hmm.
Don't get what all the fuss is about. I had some look. I've had some very good Korean fried chicken. Having said that, the standard stuff. And where we were staying on the first night we got in, there was a Korean place really close, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. And I forget what I had, probably just a bibimbap or something, but it was great. And I was like, yeah, this is a bit of a thing. And like Ryan and Cam ordered some, like ordering a lot of different foods sometimes. You know, it's like if you think you don't like Chinese food, get your mates together, go to your local Chinatown, just order like heaps of stuff, just eat a little bit of everything.
City Garden.
City Garden in Perth, especially.
Except, do you remember? I shouldn't have said the name of the place, but do you remember when we went there with we went there like about 10 years ago, and the extra special surprise that was in the food?
Oh yeah. We'll never ever forget that one back.
I forgot about that till just then, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
This one's from Freddie. I don't know why, but I have the impression you have a JMP one with input in the back. Is that the case? No, but the input jacks on them are these crap pieces of plastic that have both come off, so that's why it kind of looks a little bit weird. Shout out to Scott Brockway as well. You dig these anaerobic beans I have at the moment, really funky. That sounds absolutely wild. Is series parallel wiring mod, including switches, a hard mod to do on a Strat? You can get... So Fender do a four-way switch, you know, the Telly super switch kind of thing. I'm pretty sure they're made by Oak Grigsby. And they do some like crazy combination switches. So I would look out for one of those, and then you can do some kind of series stuff with a Strat. Hey, you know what? I'm going to share this, Troy.
Yeah.
I need to do a separate video about this, but this is something I feel like I read in a Guitar Techniques magazine with Guthrie Govan a million years ago, before, like, Guthrie Govan before he was Guthrie Govan, if you know what I mean. He was saying,
just quickly, sorry. I have 22,000 unread emails as of just then. So just want to share that with everybody. Go on there.
I'll forgive you, mate. Do we have a guitar sound? Oh, yeah? Hopefully people can hear that. Look at this. Live guitar on the internet. What am I doing? This is not the best sound for this. Let's do this. Okay, so this is the Guthrie Govan trick, and I'm sure you'll all see a video in the next 2 weeks about me with a stupid thumbnail. The one trick you need to know on a Strat. If you've got a Strat where the back tone knob only works on the bridge pickup, and you kind of want a humbucker sound out of it, you don't have a humbucker guitar handy. So that's bridge. I'm going to turn my mic off for a sec. No, I'm not. I'm just going to keep rolling. Anyway, tone control almost all the way down. Okay? But then, if the tone control isn't working on the middle pickup, you go to that position, which is middle and bridge. And it's a bit juicier and a bit beefier and a bit more tender. So the normal, you know, there's your like really abrasive. I'll just move this away from the mic. But you take the bridge tone down a bit. There it is. Pseudo humbucker. There's a trick for you kids.
I like it. I don't really play with the tone knobs on my Strat very much, unfortunately. I'm like, it's usually just full out. On my Telly, I'm a bit more like touchy with it, but yeah.
You know what I've found is, like, if I'm playing at home, I don't really do it, but doing the Nick Delena special gigs, if I take the Strat or I take my green PRS for a lot of them, depending on like the rig we're playing through, sometimes I'll just use the tone control to take a bit of brightness out of it. Like I remember doing a lot of those Mustang gigs, and you know, you've got someone who's a little bit closer to my dad's age running sound, so everything was just like hyper bright. So you kind of take rather than like redial your patch, you just take the tone control down, and it's like kind of fine. So
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot more with my guitars, man. It's just so it feels so stupid, like to have not thought about that sooner. You know, sometimes talk about like this. Well, maybe not on this, but I talk to my students a lot about accepted knowledge. You know,
yeah,
or or things that like maybe just getting bad advice from people that like when you're younger, and then that becomes in your brain this accepted knowledge.
yeah.
One of them being like your guitar is always on 10 and you never turn your tone controls down. You know, like, well, that's, you know, Paul Gilbert, his guitars, they didn't have a tone control,
He doesn't
you know?
need it.
Yeah. Eddie Van Halen, I'm pretty sure, same deal. Like, you know, you don't need a tone control and just have your guitar up all the time. Bam, easy peasy.
Well, Eddie Van Halen would have a volume pot with a knob that said tone because volume is tone, which is the most like, you know, thing that people who do YouTube would make videos like, did you know this trick that Eddie Van Halen did? He put a tone knob on, and it's like, bro, he was just doing his thing. There's that Eddie Van Halen kind of like MTV studio tour. Have I sent that to you or have you seen it?
No.
Man, it's Bill. Like the jokes he's telling, the stuff everywhere, the like manic recollections of like particular things. It's just like,
He and Bill would dress the same, I'd imagine.
man, it's like you. I'll send it to you and you'll enjoy it and just be like, yeah, same
Yeah.
energy.
Thank you, Art of Guitar LTX, by the way.
Oh, that is very generous. This one, and they asked a question. I've ever had issues with 4-cable method in a boogie amp. I've always had issue with audio cutting on hardcore or my amp being dead after a few hours into a gig. Man, I remember I did it's been a while since I gigged a boogie. I remember I did a gig with my dual rectifier and the H9 in the loop. And about halfway through the gig, it just started self-oscillating. For no reason. So I actually had to like unplug it and just do the rest of the gig without. So yeah, that's a shame without seeing the particular amp.
I'm trying to work out what could cause that. Like, I
What?
mean, you'd think like the cables and the switcher and stuff shouldn't affect it. Which boogie is it? Because if it's one of, oh, sorry, he said Mark 5 30 combat with Boss GT. Is that a series or parallel loop on those ones?
I feel like a lot of modern boogies are series now.
Are they?
Yeah, my old rectifier had a parallel loop, but I had it modded to be a series loop.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I think my Stiletto's series and my Recto is parallel.
Interesting.
But I don't know what would cause everything to freak out like that off the top of my head. But maybe it's a case of like if it's a parallel loop and where the mix control is set, maybe it's. Oh, hang on. You know what? It's really tricky without looking at it. Actually,
It's not a problem I have anymore, but I am kind of curious about what would be happening. Ground, like something like that with ground loops might be an issue, but it sounds like you're kind of getting hours of use after it before that. So
Yeah, it's I'm having like I've got a bit of a ground loop thing at the moment. Actually, well, as I was saying with the studio guitar rig, but there's like a ground loop switch on my.
sorry, someone wanted to know what pick I use. This is the 1.35mm Tortex Jazz 3 in white. Except when I'm recording with Troy, when I use the .88 green, the big green one that Hetfield used for a long time because it sounds better recorded.
Well, yeah, I like those most of the time. I'll show you. Do you want to see what picks I use?
Whatever you got laying around.
So here's some.
Is this from Seb?
Yeah, I got this. I think there's 600 of these picks, and I got them about 5 years ago, and they are so shit. Like I just grabbed. This is a 0.81 millimeter pick, and they just like snap that easily. So the unfortunate thing is like a parasite sort of situation.
They're around, so you use
They're
them?
everywhere. They're everywhere. Like in my house, I hate playing with them because they break, they wear so quickly. But I just always like I'll go buy a pack of like 88s, like green 88s, and I'll just lose the pack like immediately. It's like, and then I'll like months will go by and it's in the guitar pocket of my bag or something like that.
You know what I did? I tried to order like one of those packs of 188s or something.
Yep.
And I don't know if I made a mistake or the people shipping it made a mistake. I'd forgotten about it by the time they arrived. But they were the green Jazz 3s. And I was like, oh, maybe this will be the perfect pick because it's the same thickness. I hate them. They're so hard to play with. So if you want a bunch of those, they're yours, mate. No. They're yours.
I'm actually thinking about going to the yellow ones, like one down.
For a bit more funk.
Well, I've been using I think the 88 for some of the stuff I do, some of the it's not acoustic, but you know what I mean, like the cleaner stuff.
Yep.
It's maybe a little bit too pointy because of the
having a thinner pick for strummy strums.
Yeah, like I don't mind. I can control my pick reasonably well when I play, and which is why any pick that I have, I can usually make it happen. But it just is like how much control do I want? How hard or lazy do I want to play the guitar at the time? So I find if I'm getting a little heavy, sometimes it's just or maybe if the monitors are really bad, I tend to dig in a little bit more, and I don't know, just like to be able to like dial back the intensity by maybe 5% with the pick might be helpful to the way I play. But I've gone through this before. I mean, the last time was maybe 10 years ago where I thought, oh, maybe the yellows or the orange ones are going to be the one for me. And I just sort of stayed with the greens. But, you know, for the most part, I don't really give a shit.
I was also saying that to someone the other day. I was like, look, stop caring so much. Just.
Oh, man, I used to play the Dunlop, the grey ones. And I didn't. They were fine, and I've still got a couple of them that appear like once in a while. They just appear.
Didn't you play the purple Jazz 3s for a while?
No, that was the teardrop shape ones.
Yes.
No, the Chaos Divine guys love those.
Right.
They're all about them. I don't find them very comfortable. They're okay for if you're playing delicately and with like touch, it's kind of cool. But because I'm a bit more crash and bash, so I just like I need a pick that's got reasonable grip on it.
You know what it is for me? I drop these less.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Because as Des said, it just disappears into another dimension when you drop it.
Yep. But no, the little teardrop ones are cool, but I feel like you have to be a bit more like, well, it makes you play more precise. Yeah. And I don't want to do that. I want to play like, you know, I'm smashing my guitar on the stage at all times. Yeah. Used to steal them and hide.
Well, at least you know where they're at, Brett, if your cat is stealing the picks and putting them in the same place. You just once a month go and collect them and you'll be good to go. This has been awesome. I think maybe we've exhausted our audience's attention span a little bit here, Troy. But if anyone has any last questions, maybe we'll hang out for another 5 minutes. And this has been awesome. And let us know if you want us to do more live episodes of TGP.
I've enjoyed this, Uncle Leon. It's
nice interacting with the people.
Yeah. I mean, I like watching live streams when I've got the time to do that. It's kind of nice to be involved in one and just talk, you know. I love the sound of my own voice, you know what I mean?
Hey, mate, if there's one thing you can do in this world, it's learn to love yourself.
Everyone can see me just fidgeting with random things on my desk. Here's a 9-volt battery. I've been twisting an earplug, a used earplug with earwax on it. That's been cool. What else has been happening?
Just going all in.
Always record live gigs and put them on the channel. Mistakes and all. That's very brave of you. Yeah.
This is the 5-minute warning.
Oh, is that what that is?
Is it the 5-minute warning? Record all the gigs when your tone isn't quite right and affects your playing. Yes. So Saturday night, my tone I really enjoyed it. And it was really, really loud. And when you're playing guitar really, really loud, it's way easier. And I literally had a moment during the gig where I was like, oh my God, this is so easy. This is so awesome. And yeah, so it definitely does. It definitely does. And
I have a gig like that once in a while.
Yeah, me too. You know, when you get louder than conversation volume, it's pretty rad. We had a request to see a cat, so Troy, mate, you steer this one. I'll be less than a minute.
Listen, Jesus Christ! All right,
people can see my awesome shorts that have Australian birds on them. Check that out.
Give us a little twerk, mate, on the way out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when we wrap this up, See, the unfortunate thing about living in Western Australia is that for some reason every cafe closes at 2 p.m. and it is now 2:12 p.m. So I'm going to have to find somewhere to get a delicious coffee. It's about that time. Time for number 3. Time to complete the stack of 10 over here. Well, it's currently 9, but it's quite an impressive collection. If this makes you uncomfortable and you agree that I probably should start using a keep cup again, I am with you. But then I have to clean the keep cup, which is unfortunate. There's been plenty of times when that's just sat in my car, in the thing there. So I hear Uncle Leon in the background. That's enough riffage. Not like
for anybody interested.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Everybody's back.
Oh, you're very, very wriggly, aren't you? Look, you're going live to the world. Yeah, everybody needs some cat butt in their life, don't they? You just have a nice sleep in the sun, so no doubt I've absolutely ruined your afternoon.
Lyric Bread, whereabouts are you for it to be 2:13? Does that make you on the east coast of the United States? Or
I think so, yeah. That'd be a straight 12-hour gap.
Yeah. That sucks. You know what's funny is the Leon, you know WWE's coming next year?
Yep.
And it's going to be a massive spectacle with Undertaker and maybe The Rock and all this sort of stuff. And I think it's just sunk into American fans that they're going to have to be watching. If they're into wrestling, they have to get up and watch it at like 6 a.m., which is what I had to do for a long period of time when I wanted to watch WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it stinks, basically.
West by God, Virginia. Wow, that's awesome.
Almost heaven.
The
Or almost heaven, West Australia. The mighty Swan River. I did a track once where that was the lyrics to the song.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. What was I going to say? There was one last thing in here. Bet your vacuum is constantly clogged up. That is the most accurate statement ever said on this stream, Brett. Yeah, I need to vacuum now, actually, because look, I enjoy a clean carpet, you know.
Yep.
Love a bit of vacuuming. So
when is Becca back?
She's probably just about to board the plane. So she'll be back. Oh, she'll be back about 9 o'clock tonight. So maybe she's still got another hour or something like that at the airport. But
pick her up or make her hitchhike home.
Oh, she can hitchhike. You know, she'll be fine. Yep. I live in Brad Paisley's hometown. There you go.
Yeah, we live in. Okay, Leon. First name off the top of your head. Whose hometown do we live in?
Chris Mainwaring, R.I.P.
The future home of Harley Reid.
The future home of Harley Reid. Who's from Perth? Dave Hole, great blues slide guitar player. Birds of Tokyo.
Oh yeah, Birds of Tokyo.
Carnival.
Yep.
Who else?
Johnny Diesel lived here for a bit.
Johnny Diesel. Baby Animals.
Oh, Bon Scott.
Bon Scott. Yeah, exactly.
They've got a statue of him and everything.
A friend of ours who is a singer once showed me a song where they were writing. It was like a song about, you know, one of those songs that just kind of celebrates how good rock music is. Mm-hmm. And the line was, "Why did I blow up my video? Because Bon Scott told me to." And my first thing was like, you know, blow up your video was Brian Johnson. And he was like, yeah, whatever. I was like, no, like, you can't put that in a song because people like AC/DC too much.
Yeah, you can't open that can of worms.
But the more I think about it, the more I actually like that line as like yeah. You want to listen to this? Then Virgil Donati. Is Virgil Donati from Perth?
Don't think he's from Perth. I'm pretty sure he's not. I reckon he's from over east. We would know if Virgil Donati was from Perth because he would have played with like Eddie and Frank back in the 80s at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to look him up right now.
Exactly. Perth, home of the America's Cup. What is that, like the 30 or 40 year celebration of that?
Yeah, 40, I think.
Yeah. So some stuff happening there.
Planet X, that's right. I used to listen to that band.
Yeah, man. Was that Sharinian and McAlpine?
I think so, yeah. Born in Melbourne, of Italian descent. Nothing about Perth in here, so yeah.
No, he was in Southern Sons. That's the best thing he's ever done. So
yeah, did that. He was with Vi for a while. That was cool.
Hank Marvin does live in Perth. Yep.
Hank Marvin is here. That's correct. Yeah, remember that Virgil Nardi and that Steve Vai thing? He's just like watching porn on his like little portable DVD player backstage. That's my main takeaway.
That's
I
so
should I
funny.
should do something with those two microwave boxes of VHS porn. Hey, I got two microwave the boxes that microwaves come in. I got two boxes full of VHS porn that was given to
And
me.
you're talking 90s microwaves as well, when they were
Yeah,
considerably larger.
same guy that gave me these pics just gave us the box of porn. Actually, I want to say Leon and I have a box each. They just both are
Yeah,
at the studio.
they just they're
Yeah,
just their vintage 90s stuff. So yeah,
like stacked up, they reached the ceiling. There was a lot of stuff there that it's a bit of a waste. I should donate them to someone, but it's just really funny to say.
yeah. Oh mate, just hang on to it for a little bit longer, and you'll be able to sell it for.
Well, it's got that warm sound,
Yeah,
that warm
exactly.
tape sort of character to it.
That warm smut about it. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We may have to make this a bit of a regular thing because I very much enjoyed hanging out on here. And yeah,
Thursday's a good day for this too.
Thursday's a bloody lovely day. Maybe we'll do it a little bit earlier the next one we do. Troy,
Yeah.
have a bloody
Uncle
great
Leon.
day. Take
Sorry,
care of
we'll-
yourself, mate. And
You too, mate.
we'll see everybody very soon.
Happy days. See you later, everyone. Bye.
See ya.